Let's talk about the breakdown before the breakthrough. Now, first of all, let me just say this does not always have to happen. I don't want to set the expectation that every time you set an intention, something's going to go wrong. If we expect it, then surely it will happen, right? It'll become a self-fulfilling prophecy. However, I also want to invite you to recognize that if you set an intention and things start to go wrong, it is not a sign to stop. It is not a sign to slow down or quit. Keep going and know that it is very, very common. So one of the most important things to know first and foremost is that we all have a stopping point. We all have a point when we set our intentions and we're like, yes, I'm going for it, full throttle. I'm going to go after this desire that is on my heart. That we all have a point where we will throw in the towel. So the more that we know what that stopping point could be for us, the more we can support ourselves and ask the people around us to support us through any of those speed bumps that come up. So in this video, I'm going to talk about 8 common stopping points so you can keep your eyes open, notice if these things happen for you, and keep on going. Because if you have a desire that is truly, sincerely on your heart, then it is meant to be yours. It is your destiny. Keep going, claim it, allow yourself to receive it. And here we go. Let's do the 8 things. I'm going to get my little notes here. So the first one is one I'm experiencing right this second, right? So if you've been following my channel for a little while, then you know that I'm doing this little do a video every single day challenge. So today is day 7. And what happens as soon as I'm like, I'm going to get on video no matter what, I'm going to show up and I'm going to practice being on camera. I'm going to practice getting more confident on camera. What happens? My allergies kick in worse than I've had in years. So that means my eyes are itchy and dry and my nose is itchy and I'm congested, so my sleep is disturbed, which means as I'm trying to show up and be more confident on camera, I'm super tired and I look super tired. So stopping point number 1, something goes awry in your body. Maybe it's digestive, maybe it's headaches, maybe you start to have back pain, neck pain, shoulder pain, you name it. When something goes wrong in our body, it can be really distracting and hard to keep going. So here is my tip. My tip is recognize that this is just your body recalibrating to your new habit, your new behavior, and give it only the amount of attention that it needs and no more. Don't let this be a major distraction or derail you, but also don't force and push through anything that actually genuinely needs your attention and your care, because we're not trying to go through drive, focus, pressure, like force. We're trying to go through focus, concentration, and flow. Right? So I'm noticing my allergies are an issue. I'm doing my best to keep going forward. And basically just show up to take good care of your body, but keep going anyway. Okay? The second one is sleep drama of any kind. This happens all the time, right? For me as a mom, even before having children, I had 4 dogs. And so I would set this intention. Yes, I'm going to get up. I'm going to wake up every day at 5 o'clock in the morning and I'm going to work out or I'm going to do whatever. And then one of the dogs would suddenly randomly just start throwing up at 2 o'clock in the morning. Or after I had children, suddenly the baby would be up all night, right? There would be these things where suddenly sleep was damn near impossible, right? So again, it's like recognizing, okay, I do need sleep. I'm not going to force and push through and deny myself sleep, but at the same time, I'm not going to let the sleep drama completely derail me. So finding a way to keep going while also nurturing yourself as best you can, right? So the third one is shit just breaks. Things just go wrong. I could tell you so many good stories about this one. One of them that was super fun was when I first started running Facebook ads. This was many, many years ago. I started running Facebook ads to my website, to an opt-in offer, and somehow somebody hacked into my site and started redirecting my Facebook ads to porn. So you can imagine my horror, because obviously that is not on brand for me. I was petrified when somebody reached out to me and told me what was happening. And yeah, I didn't know, I didn't have the skill to figure out who hacked me, how to get unhacked, and all of those things. So it's easy to just shut down and stop when shit breaks, right? So the idea is recognize, okay, yep, this is happening. I'm going to deal with it. I'm going to deal with it as quickly as possible. I'm not going to create too much drama around it, too much story around it. I'm just going to move forward, seek out the solutions, seek out the help that I need, and get back on track, right? Okay, the next one. This is also a fun one. Relationship drama. So there are so many stories I could tell you about this too, right? Where I'm like, yes, I'm going to go full throttle. I'm going to commit to something. And then somebody that I care about, somebody that I love, has some huge drama in their life where I feel like I really want to be there for them and to support them. And I really had to learn and practice, how can I show up for the people that I love and simultaneously move my vision and my goals forward. So this becomes an and both rather than an either or. And if we don't know that this is a potential that could take us out, if we're not honest with ourselves about that, then it could completely take us out. It completely took me out many, many times, because I would say, well, yeah, I have this goal, but this relationship, this person is more important to me than this goal right now. And so the goal can wait, and let me show up for this person and support them through this struggle, whatever that may be. This can also look like drama in your own personal life, right? Not just supporting other people through their drama, but actually drama in your own relationships, in your own marriage, drama with your kids, any sort of relationship drama. So again, my recommendation is recognize, like, okay, this is something that is needing my attention. This is something I care about and I'm concerned about, and I'm dedicated to showing up for this situation. And at the same time, I am still fully committed to moving my vision forward. And there is a way where I can do both. I don't have to completely put my life on hold to attend to this. I can do both at the same time. Maybe I have to slow down my plans a little bit, but there is a way and there is a path where I can do both at the same time, and just fully holding your intention to be able to do that and strengthening your muscle and your boundaries around being able to do both at the same time, right? Not letting this be like, what the desire on my heart is less important than this other thing, therefore I'm going to stop pursuing the desire on my heart, right? The next one is shiny objects. Shiny objects can be so distracting, right? We set an intention. We're like, yes, I'm going to do this thing. It's going to be amazing. I'm going to concentrate and focus on this one thing. And then suddenly, ooh, what's that over there? That looks exciting. Maybe that's the path. Maybe that's the career. Maybe that's the move, right? Those people over there look like they're having a really good time. And we can completely derail ourselves and start back at square one, rather than just moving forward on the intention that we had already set for ourselves and following our intuition, right? So be really aware if shiny object is something that has taken you out in the past. Just being aware of it can help you avoid that pitfall in the future, right? Okay, next one. Ooh, this is when you just sort of get the efforts, right? Where you're just like, you know what? Screw it. It's not working. I'm not getting enough momentum. Things aren't moving. This doesn't matter. Who cares? This isn't important, right? Don't go into the screw it mentality, because it can totally take you out, right? Notice what stories you're telling yourself and do your best to celebrate all of the ways that you are winning, and also detaching from stories, judgment, assumption. And if you need to just like silence that critic, silence that narrator in your mind, practice that, right? Because we can tell ourselves so many stories that it's not working, I'm not winning, and we can actually take ourselves out and be really just missing all of the ways that we are winning, right? This happened to me so many times where I would get started and then I would say it's not working, not enough is happening, and then I would stop or slow down, not realizing that it actually was working. So if you're like, well, nobody's commenting, nobody's liking, no, there's no momentum happening, just have faith and keep going. Because on the other side of this feeling of forget it, screw it, it doesn't matter, nobody cares, on the other side of that is a breakthrough. Right? Sometimes you hear this as don't stop 5 feet from gold, right? We never know what is just around the corner if we keep going. So if you start to feel that, tune in and be like, is this desire still something that is truly authentic on my heart? And if it is, keep going. There's an awesome book called The Dip, and it's all about how, you know, at first when we set an intention, we'll be cruising right along, and then there's this dip where it feels like nothing's happening or things feel really challenging. There's a massive struggle. And then on the other side of that dip is the breakthrough. And he says, don't quit on the dip. And you know it's a dip when you still really want the desire on the other side and you're just in a slump, right? It's different than if you're like taking a path and suddenly you're like, you know what? I don't want this anymore. This doesn't feel like the right path for me. It doesn't feel like the right intention for me. Then it's okay to quit and tweak. But if you're cruising along and then suddenly there's this dip, but you really want what's on the other side, then keep going. Don't stop in the dip. Don't stop 5 feet from gold or 5 minutes before the miracle, right? Even if it looks like nothing is happening, don't get the screw it mentality, right? Because that mentality can really take you out. And once it's there, it can just be so insidious, right? So really protect your mindset, guard your mindset, guard your subconscious mind so that you can stay focused on, okay, how am I winning? What's working? How am I making progress? How am I advancing in my skill set, right? All of the evidence that you can find that this is progressing that will really help you get through that little slump and onto the other side where your miracle is inevitable and it is happening. Okay, next one, hitting the happiness threshold. So there's a book called The Big Leap where Gay Hendricks talks about the happiness threshold. I love this book. It's a fantastic one. And the happiness threshold is basically like you're cruising along, you're feeling really good, and then you notice like, ooh, this is sort of my thermostat where now if I get happier than this, I start to feel really dysregulated. I start to feel really anxious, really uncomfortable. And so our nervous system, our minds start to look for things to agitate us, right? So we will create drama, we will create stress. It can look like anxiety and worry. So you can be like, wow, everything is too good. There's a shoe somewhere, it's gonna drop, it's gonna be bad. So we start taking ourselves out mentally, even though nothing is wrong yet. We're in that state of anticipation and worry, and it's a trauma response. So just knowing that it's possible to hit that happiness threshold, that can really help us recognize like, oh, am I really getting intuitively guided to pay attention to something? Is this fear and anxiety cluing me in that there's something that I need to pay attention to? Or is the fear and anxiety kicking up because I'm hitting a set point where I actually need to expand beyond that set point? Where if I can just hold myself here in this happiness and calibrate my nervous system to this feeling of happiness, that I can increase my tolerance for more and more happiness. And I can turn down the volume on the anxiety. I can really check in and be like, is there anything to be anxious about? Does it feel like there's anything I truly need to be paying attention to in terms of a fear? And if not, then the fear is just habit, right? The anxiety is a habit and you're pushing up against that happiness threshold. And if you just breathe through it, continue to take the action in the direction that you're wanting to go, then your ability to feel happiness, greater amounts of happiness and greater amounts of flow and ease will actually rise higher and higher, right? So I think that's just such a fascinating phenomenon. So notice if you're really cruising along, do you have that nagging feeling like, uh-oh, things are too good to be true. There's a shoe that's going to drop somewhere and it's going to be bad. If you have that feeling, check in and be like, okay, this is a mindset. This is a thought. This is a trauma response. Is it really true? And can I quiet that voice within me? If you can't, then just focus on your breath. Again, I love doing somatic movement and body work for this. Nervous system regulation techniques, there are so many, but just really my point here is to be mindful that there is a happiness threshold that many people butt up against, and that can really cause us to stop, slow down, procrastinate, and take us out. So again, that can be a breakdown. But if we're understanding that that's a possibility, then it can also be this opportunity to break through and move to higher and higher levels of awareness about what is possible for us with our happiness. So, one more. I've got one more. An act of God, right? So this is where you're cruising right along, everything looks great, and then there is some hurricane or some other act of God where suddenly you're completely pulled off course and you need to deal with this situation. So for me, I was at a business conference, cruising right along, everything's looking great, and then Hurricane Sandy was suddenly coming straight to New York City, which was where I was, right? So hurricanes very rarely hit New York City, right? So it was a very strange act of God that completely derailed the business conference, and we really had to figure out ways to keep going and also honor the truth that there was a hurricane coming and we needed to prepare, right? So all of these things are really, it's not about forcing, it's not about denying what's really up for attention. It's about recognizing like, okay, these are all things that have the potential to take us out. And looking at these things and being like, what are the ones that really tend to crop up for me personally? Because the more we know what tends to take us out, the more we're consciously aware of it, the more we can kind of problem solve or plan how we're going to handle those things if and when they arise, right? So this is like having systems in place, having support in place, right? Who do we need to have in our circle to support us if these things happen, right? And then making the decision that when life happens, because these are all things that is just kind of life, doing what life does, right? So we can make the decision in advance that like, okay, this desire is on my heart, therefore it is meant to be mine. I'm going to commit to it. I'm going to make the decision to do this no matter what, right? And so life is going to do what life is going to do, and I'm going to show up for that in any way that is appropriate and necessary, and still I'm going to show up for the desire on my heart. There's going to be a way to do both. I may need extra support, I may need extra self-care and nourishment, but there will be a way. And so rather than feeling like your desire is optional, and if it's convenient, then you'll do it. But if there's anything that comes up that is more, quote unquote, more important, then it's okay to set your desire aside. We're really getting out of that mindset and saying, you know what, my desire matters. This desire that is on my heart is exactly what I am meant to bring to the world at this time. So there are all these things that could potentially interfere, and I'm going to move forward anyway. I'm going to move forward to the best of my ability. So rather than seeing these opportunities to quit and these reasonable reasons why nobody would blame you if you quit, right? But really having integrity with yourself and saying, these are all things that I can work through if I am in the mindset and in the commitment to work through them. So the more that we understand the things that can potentially take us out, the more we can move through them deliberately and consciously and show up with healthy, strong boundaries to attend to whatever is necessary while also attending to the desires that are on our heart and the work that we are designed to do in the world, the things that we are meant to contribute. So those are all the things that I've experienced having taken me out. And again, breakthroughs, the breakdown before the breakthrough, it doesn't always have to happen, right? I don't want it to be this expectation in your mind where you're like, okay, I'm going to set a desire and then something's going to go wrong. It doesn't always happen, right? You can expect and anticipate flow and freedom and wonderful things. and simultaneously prepare yourself for when things start to break down, you can still receive the breakthrough on the other side. So I hope that's helpful. My name is Kirsten Barrett. Thank you so much for watching. I love to talk about all things manifestation, universal laws and principles, and how to use your intuition to create the desires that are on your heart. So if these are topics that interest you, I hope you'll stick around, subscribe, and hit that little bell icon so you'll get notified anytime I upload a new video. And thank you so much for watching. Please like and comment. Let me know if this video is helpful for you. And if you've ever had any of these crazy breakdowns in your manifestation journey, I would love to hear about them. And I will see you on the next video. Thank you so much for watching. Bye for now.